Good morning and welcome to our second installment of ARC 313, Advanced Delineation, Architecture in Watercolor, and our first lesson in painting. So today we're going to actually start painting. Today's lesson is going to be the Vern Swansen Method. Vern Swansen was a professor here at Cal Poly. He taught architecture, architectural history, and watercolor. And he taught me watercolor, and he was a great watercolor instructor. He was also a great artist himself. He was always painting. He would paint in faculty meetings. The joke was back then that he was the only one getting anything done. He used to teach us art history, and when we were getting an exam from him, he had nothing to do, so he would just stay up in the front of the classroom and paint. When June rolled around, after school got out, he would immediately head for Greece. He'd go to Athens and then out to the Greek islands. And he would spend his summers painting in watercolor, doing a lot of imaginary islands in watercolor and various other abstract ideas. He always used to say, and I'm paraphrasing now, everybody has to have their own garden and that they have to tend to. And his gardens were these paintings. He's a great painter to start with because he had an awesome method for beginners. It's a very rigid and controlled way of painting, but it's sort of the basis of 75 to 95% of the painting that you might do in an architectural rendering, and therefore he's a great place to start off. What you learn in this lesson will carry through the entire duration of this class. He was very particular about his colors. He was very anal about them. He would usually change the water in his jar after every change in color. He would clean out his brush each time, and he'd clean out his palette. You'll see for me that that's a little bit different. I'm constantly keeping, I'm using my dirty water periodically. I'm mixing things in the palette all the time, so I've got a fairly messy palette. And I don't really change out the color of my brush, but I do try and clean it out with my paper towel periodically. He used to use the colors in a very pure way. He would pretty much grab that color exactly the way Winsor Newton wanted you to see it, and did very few little mixing. He wouldn't use the Payne's gray, for example, but he would, if he needed a gray, he would take red and green and mix them together until you couldn't see either of those colors, but only the resultant gray color. I do that a lot with my Sennelier colors from France and my Dutch Old Holland colors. I tend to use those for very specific detail and getting the color right out of the tube just right. But with my Winsor Newtons, I'm constantly mixing the colors, constantly mixing my greens and a lot of the other colors for materiality, so I can just make a very custom color. He painted so much that he bequeathed over 4,000 paintings to the Alpha Rho Chi, which is the professional social architecture fraternity on campus at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, the Daedalus chapter. And they take care of all of those and they sell them periodically. Right after this video, I'm going to show you about a half a dozen of his paintings, just so you get a sense of what style you're looking at before we actually sit down to paint. He was born in Oregon, but raised in Pasadena. Attended architecture school at USC before he went on to become the president of the Santa Barbara Art Association and the Santa Barbara Museum of Art curator of education from '61 to '71, and he taught at Santa Barbara City College for a while and then Westmont College before coming up to Cal Poly to teach architecture and art history and watercolor. He got the Faculty Merit Award in 1987, and ever since then the Faculty Merit Award has come with a Vern Swansen painting as your sort of trophy for getting the Faculty Merit Award. I got one, and you'll see one of those in the half dozen that we're going to look at after this video. But unfortunately, he passed away in 1992 at the age of 76. But he lives on through those 4,000 paintings and in the way I teach this course, which always starts out with the Vern Swansen Method. So next we're going to go look at some of his paintings, and then I'm going to take you to the painting table and we'll start getting going on our first lesson. Thank you.